Good morning guys, Grant Davidson here, your usual Friday webinar host. Thank you very much for joining what is our first webinar back this year. We're going to be back on our usual fortnightly webinar sort of series, so hope to see much more of you on the ones to come as well. More of the same, packed with content, so we'll jump in and get started on SOLIDWORKS 2017 this morning. Now what we're going to be opening on is the user interface enhancements. 2017, well, it really does introduce a lot of new nice capabilities that just help out with the everyday user tasks. First up, breadcrumbs. Now if you've been using breadcrumbs, you know it's an already great tool. However, it now gives you even more. It shows you things like reference planes, as well as any warnings or failures. They are now highlighted in your breadcrumb as well. And with just a simple selection, in this case a failed mate, all the information that you need to go ahead and resolve the problem can be accessed via a new contextual menu, and it even includes a handy shortcut to actually go ahead and redefine that feature. Now one of the things you've probably found yourself while working away in SOLIDWORKS is that parts and assemblies can contain many different item types. What I mean by that is planes, reference sketches, maybe axes, and so on. Now in 2017, to make the display instantly clutter-free when you don't need to be seeing all this, you can simply click the button and hide everything out, or you can show the previous visibility state. Now it's really powerful to be able to do that with a single button click, because previously you would have had to go in and turn them on or off individually, which could be a little bit long-winded if you had a lot of items shown in the graphics area. Next up, dynamic visualization of parent-child relations. As you can see in my tree is being shown at the moment, but it looks a little bit different for 2017. Now the enhancement to this was not only to increase the clarity, but to now show any detailed information on any errors or warnings you may have in the tree. Providing even more feedback at the cursor, in 2017, when you select an error or a warning in the feature manager, what's wrong information is now displayed via an intuitive contextual menu, including a handy direct link to edit that feature. Now with this pattern fixed, again, the intuitive new feature manager feedback indicates that a fillet requires missing edges to be redefined. Now in 2017, when working in either the fillet, the move or delete face commands, you can also now control the display of the selection accelerator toolbar. Now these two issues fixed, we'll jump back into our assembly. Next up, we're going to have a look at configurations. Now, of course, always been a powerful tool for managing part and assembly variations, but 2017 really takes it a stage further, particularly in the way that we organize our configurations. Let me show you this. So, for example, you can now sort configurations using a variety of different techniques, some of which are maybe by date created, numerically, or even if you prefer to individually drag and drop them to manually redefine the order, you can do that as well. A good example of that is maybe to move a common size to the top of the list. That way, when we're back in the top level assembly, it's much quicker and easier to go ahead and select the one that we're after. This lets us focus on the design rather than how the software is actually working. Now comments, they've always been a great way to share design information in SOLIDWORKS, and in 2017, comments are even better. A visual indicator can now be displayed in the feature manager next to any items which contain comments. And just by moving your mouse cursor over the indicator will give you an instant readout of what it actually says. Comments can also be added to many more item types, things like folders, mates, sensors, lots more as well. And to go a stage further, we can now even include images in our comments as well. This allows us to convey rich design information without having screeds of text in there. Now I'm sure you guys will agree with all these new capabilities. With comments alongside the general user interface, it makes 2017 that much easier and more intuitive to use day to day. Now, one of the last areas I'll speak about in the user interface here is to do with my control box which I've got. Now, I want to vary the display of it. You can see at the moment the decals I've got on there are green, but what if we want to swap them out? Well, display states are a great tool in 2017 to help us achieve this. New for 2017 is the ability to hide and show decals between different display states. This provides a quick and easy method of switching between different product options. For example, the logo color that I spoke about. Now it doesn't end there, guys, because we're going to go on and have a look at the sketcher now. Using the same top level Myomo assembly arm here, let's have a look at what's enhanced in the sketcher tool. Obviously an area that a lot of us are still using every single day. For a lot of us, still our go-to area when we're starting with a design. So it's nice to see enhancements here as well. Let's jump in and have a look. Now a lot of these new enhancements centre around the slot entity. In 2017, when you're working in a sketch, the right mouse button shortcuts menu has been enhanced to provide quick access to the most commonly used tools. So if we're using the slot, as I said here, what you'll see that closed sketch contours can now be displayed as a shaded region. This gives you instant feedback while you work. By simply selecting and dragging the shaded area, unconstrained shapes can be easily moved to new locations. This makes adding relations wherever you need to both quick and easy. More than just display, additional commands can be quickly accessed via the context menu by simply selecting a shaded contour. Now if we use the Alt key shortcut, single or multiple contours can also be pre-selected, so you're ready to go straight to creating your feature. And from there, guys, we're going to jump in and start having a look at a little bit of simulation. So we've seen user interface, we've seen some enhancements in the sketcher itself. How about simulation becoming a much bigger part of SOLIDWORKS and essentially an integral part of the entire design process now we could consider? Now, whether you're a new or advanced user, what you're going to find is that when you're using SOLIDWORKS Simulation 2017, it's even more powerful and intuitive than before. Now let me give you a practical example here. We need to know how the side tabs on this battery cover perform when the door is completely released, and what happens if the battery cover is subjected to a larger than normal opening force. First, let's take a look at the battery door. We can simplify the model and use symmetry for faster results in this case, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Now often users will start a simulation and let it run while they do other things, perhaps go off to a meeting or for lunch or whatever else you're looking to do. And a problem that we could occasionally have is that the simulation would require you to make a choice. Well, now in 2017, what you're going to see is that if it fronts us with a decision-making dialog box, it can automatically make the decision for us. This means that the study continues and we'll have results when we return to our desk. Now, of course, any results that are loaded and any decisions that are reached are saved for us to review when we do return. Now, the first thing we notice in this result is that the stresses are very high in the tab. Now, with 2017, we can use the new stress hotspot diagnostic tool to understand if these stresses are real or possibly caused by a simulation setup or model simplification error. In this case, we find very high stress on the sharp corner, where a fillet would exist in the real-life injection molded part. This immediate feedback gives you greater confidence in the next steps required to simulate the problem with greater accuracy. And also new in 2017, you'll find it much easier to communicate your results by interacting directly with the plot chart legend. You can now quickly define how to show results and the clearest way to highlight important findings in there. Now really, looking at this part, a better way that we could be simulating it is by using a non-linear study. With 2017, we can convert the existing static study to a new non-linear study with a single command. This automates the process and saves time and eliminates any unintended setup differences when compared to any previous workflow we had. With the subscription relationship between SOLIDWORKS Simulation and Materiality, you can now directly access the online library to find more detailed material descriptions as well. With a quick download, you can include them in your studies. And this is a great resource for getting the most realistic and accurate answers. Finally, with SOLIDWORKS Simulation 2017, we can automatically determine the best solver to use for non-linear problems, which means you don't need to be an expert to be getting the best results for you fast. Now, looking at the results from this non-linear study, we can see a more accurate representation of the stresses on the clip and gives us a better understanding of if it requires any changes. With 2017, we can easily compare the results of the study with other simulations and create the images needed to communicate the differences using the new functionality in the Compare Results tool. This is a huge time saver. Now moving back to the full battery enclosure assembly, we want to understand how the battery door reacts to a large opening force. Communicating these results clearly is always important, and while previous versions of SOLIDWORKS simulation could show the results well, 2017 introduces Simulation Display, which uses Real View Graphics or PhotoView 360, it's your choice, along with simulation results to give a much clearer image. This gives a great improvement to the way that we view and communicate our results. Now with SOLIDWORKS Simulation 2017, validating your designs, verifying and interrogating the results, as well as communicating them, has literally never been easier. This means that you spend less time being an expert at simulation and more time focused on gaining the performance, quality and reliability of your own design. Now unfortunately guys, that is all we've got time for in this first episode back. As I said, however, going forward, we're going to be using our webinar slot every fortnightly week, so we're hoping to see you on them for more 2017 enhancement webinars. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you.